Today we are going to start face down in crocodile pose. So come on over to your yoga mat. You can get some extra pillows or cushions underneath your body if you'd like. Crocodile pose is this kind of face down prone position. You could stack your hands underneath your forehead. You could stack your fists underneath your forehead, or maybe even grabbing your block and then finding which setting would feel best underneath your head. So, really taking some time as you get comfortable here. Could feel really nice to grab a pillow or blanket kind of underneath your chest or your stomach. Sometimes it feels nice to have something underneath your feet. So just feel into crocodile pose. See if it'll work for you, or if there's any kind of workarounds you can situate here in the first couple of breaths. And if this face down position just is not suiting you, you are so welcome to flip over to your back or your side or any other comfortable position as we get started. So if you are in a version of crocodile pose, let's just start to feel the points of contact between your body and the floor. Noticing all the different spots pressing down, making contact with the floor or your mat. And we'll tune into the breath. Notice how your breath is already flowing. And then if it feels right, you could play around with expanding your breath, deepening your breath, seeing if it feels nice as you go. And taking some diaphragmatic breaths. It'll feel different, of course, in this position, but drawing the air down to your belly. If your belly could expand here, we're creating that sensation. Belly and ribcage widening and softening with your exhales. Take your time finding full breaths. Take about 5 more breaths on your own. Checking in with yourself, starting to clear the slate. About 3 more of these breaths. Just about 1 more. And if you would like to set a dedication or intention for your practice today, now is a great time to think of something or someone to dedicate this time to or your efforts towards. Maybe an emotion you'd like to focus on or grow. Maybe a person or group of people who need some extra love. And let's take 3 clearing breaths, inhaling through your nose, sigh or blow out of your mouth. 2 more like that. Inhale through your nose. You can mix and match here, maybe blowing or sighing out of your mouth. 3 total. And then we will slowly start to wiggle the toes. Maybe pick your feet up a little bit, circle your ankles. And then bend one knee, and then bend the other knee. And we'll just kind of alternate now. So straighten, let's say I straighten the right leg. So the left knee is bent, right leg is straight, and then switch. Left leg straightens, right knee bends. Let's just do it a couple of times at your own pace here. Bending and straightening opposite knees. Just noticing where you can feel anything happening. Maybe you can even feel this movement in the low back or even the mid back. And then we'll bend both knees so the feet are hanging out in the air behind you. And like a windshield wiper, we'll let the feet kind of sway to one side, little twist. And then coming back up and then swaying and lowering to the other side. Go ahead and play with that a little bit. We're just like a windshield wiper, letting the feet kind of rise up, twist over, side to side. This, for many people, can feel like a low back loosener. I'll call it low back loosener. And if you want to get even more playful with it, I kind of like to straighten my legs and kind of swoop them around to the other side. Try that a couple times. So we're still just working with this kind of side to side action for a couple more times. Okay. And then coming back to the center, let's take a long body stretch. The toes reach long, the hands reach long. We're reaching in both directions, fingers and toes stretching, reaching. Can feel quite different than when we're flipped over on our back, so just enjoy the novelty of it. You might kind of reach one arm a little farther than the other, or kind of turn over onto one side a little bit as you stretch and reach, almost like you're doing some kind of interesting swimming stroke. All right, and then we'll plant the hands next to the chest and slowly press your way up to tabletop, hands and knees. Right away, let's get into cat and cow. So fingertips spread out nice and wide. Press your weight as equally as you can through all the edges of your hands and fingers. With your inhale, start to lower your belly, lift your tailbone and your gaze, finding cow pose. And exhale to round your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, cat pose. Let's flow with it now. Inhaling to cow, belly lowers, gaze lifts. Exhale to cat, rounding the spine up. Keep going, keep flowing. Kind of like you're pumping the air through the lungs, through the body, moving any of that stagnant muscle energy. This can also kind of be good for digestion. So if you feel any of that happening, just know it's working a little bit. And whenever you've had enough of your cat and cow, let's find our way to extended child's pose with the knees out wide and the big toes touching behind you. Slowly sinking your seat toward your heels. No rush to get to your final destination here. If you want, you could come back up to tabletop and then sink back towards child's pose a couple of times before settling in. But whenever you do feel like settling, you could always come down to your forearms to rest, or maybe walk your hands out toward the top of your mat and then sink your head and heart toward the floor. Getting cozy. If you want more of a shoulder or arm kind of stretch, you could kind of crawl the hands up higher toward the top of your mat. If you want this to be a little more gentle, coming back up to the forearms could be nice. Take 3 belly breaths. You might be a little faster or slower than me with the breaths. That's no problem. Just about one more. And then start to come back up to your tabletop position. Hands and knees. Let's do our bird dog core stabilizer here. Really good for learning about our core muscles and just more about interoception or inner feelings of the muscles and body. So from hands and knees, let's extend that right hand out in front of us. It could just be a couple inches up off of the floor or maybe straight ahead, but we don't need to go any higher than that. Like you're shaking someone's hand, so your thumb is kind of up toward the sky, and then stick out that left leg. So straightening the left leg out behind you. Same thing here. Those toes could be close to the floor or about at hip height. Press down through your left hand and your right knee, kind of engaging your core, trying to get the belly kind of up a little bit. Take a breath in. Exhale, lower the right pinky and the left big toe down to the floor, touching down for a moment. Inhale, same side, lifts up. Exhale, dip the right hand and left foot down to the floor. 2 more times. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. One last time. Inhale to lift. And then exhale to come back to tabletop hands and knees. Take a moment, maybe even closing your eyes, just to feel your body in stillness. When the timing is right for you, let's switch sides. So we're straightening that left hand out with the thumb facing up, right leg kicking out behind us. Press down through the right hand and the left knee, so you're finding kind of a lifted version. Inhale here. Exhale, touch the left pinky and the right big toe to the floor. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, lower. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale, tabletop. 1 breath in here. Exhale to child's pose. This time our knees can stay a little closer together. Just breathe here in your child's pose for about 2 more breaths. One more breath in. 1 more breath out. With an inhale, come back up to tabletop. Let's grab our blocks if we have them and start to find our first downward facing dog. So blocks up at the top of the mat if you like. Either way though, hands will be spread out, or fingertips spread out, hands about shoulder width distance apart. Grip into your blocks or the floor. Curl your toes under, start to pick up your knees, and then send your tailbone back. You may or may not straighten your legs. You could keep your legs really bent here, or start to straighten the legs a little bit. Press down through your hands, see if you can create that equal pressure feeling throughout the edges of your hands. Reach through your shoulders, take a few breaths here, maybe pedaling out your legs, bending and straightening opposite knees. Nice little calf stretch here. This can be really good if you've been running or biking or gardening. Getting the back of the legs nice and stretched. The back is stretching, the arms are stretching and reaching. Good, good, good. Okay, with an inhale, let's bend the knees, look up to your hands. Exhale, step or walk your feet behind your blocks or your hands for ragdoll forward fold. Having at least a little bend of your knees, maybe a nice deep bend of your knees if you want to get a little deeper into your back. Let your upper body hang loose. Maybe swaying a little bit or just enjoying stillness. You might nod your head yes or shake your head no as you feel gravity helping you get a little more space through the spine, through the neck. And then we'll we'll take one more breath here. With your exhale, bending your knees a little deeper. You want to use your inhale to walk your hands up your legs, slowly rising to stand. Eventually, at the top, we'll just get a little shake and a little bounce going through the body. So maybe start with the hands today. There's no real right or wrong way to do this. Just start shaking whatever feels intuitive in your body. Maybe the arms, maybe the hands, maybe the feet or the legs. Maybe it feels a little more like a dance. Maybe it feels a little more mechanical, going through limb by limb. Maybe you kind of shake the face with your tongue out. You can get as wild with it as you want. Maybe kind of shaking the arms. Can always lift and lower the heels, kind of bouncing the heels on the ground, getting a nice deep kind of bounce through the body. This is really good for our lymphatic system, our circulation, energetic clearing, and beyond. Okay. Whenever you feel like you've had enough of that shaking and bouncing, come on up to the top of your mat. Take a look at your feet. Make sure they're at a comfortable distance from each other. Pressing weight into all the edges of your feet. And to kind of find that sensation, you might purposely kind of roll weight around and not have them equal at first, and then kind of slow down your circle and see if you can get into a place that feels like all edges are equally pressing. Flip your palms to face the front of your space. Gently hug your shoulder blades together behind you and engage your core. So we're not flaring open or up, we're nice and solid. With an inhale, reach your hands up and overhead. Option to look up to your hands as they join. Exhale, baby back bend. Squeeze those glutes. Cactus or goalpost the arms. Lift your gaze, lift your heart. Inhale, reach high, unwind. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Arms reach wide, hinge at your hips, and then release your hands toward the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, half tuck of your chin. Exhale, hands come down to the floor or two blocks. Let's step that right foot back first and then your left to your high plank, shoulders over wrists. Let's take a big breath in and breath out, knees lower, chest lowers all the way down. Untuck your toes, press the top of your feet into the mat a lot, so much that those knees start popping up. With your inhale, let's find baby cobra, lifting the head and chest, using the strength of your spine and core. And exhale, slowly lowering down, using that entire exhale to lower. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift, baby cobra. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale to lift. Let's stay lifted. Stay lifted for your exhale. One more breath in. Option to hover your hands up off the floor. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, press up to tabletop, hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Big breath in. Breath out. Two more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Last breath out. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. Curl your toes under and exhale to downward dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, reach through your shoulders. Feel all the fingertips. Exhale. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, bend both knees, look up to your hands. With your exhale, let's adjust the left foot forwards. Just the left foot comes up. With an inhale, take your time, lifting up to our high lunge. So the left knee is bent, the arms reach up and overhead. That right knee could be more bent or more straight, depending on what your lower back feels best in. So go ahead and experiment a little bit as you breathe. Just about 2 more breaths. One more breath in. Exhale, warrior 2. The right foot spins, right heel spins down to touch the floor. That right foot is about parallel to the back of your mat. Arms go wide, gaze just beyond the left middle finger. Breathing in and out. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Breath out. Keep your legs the same. Inhale and reverse your warrior. The left hand reaches high. The right hand just slides down the back of your right thigh. Stretch that left side. Breathing here. Breathing out. One more breath in. Breath out. Come back up, warrior 2. Let's straighten the left leg now. Turn all of your toes now to face that long edge of your mat. And then warrior 2 to the back of your mat. The right toes spin to the back edge of your mat. Bending into that right knee. Gazing just beyond the right middle finger this time. Let's take 3 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Press into the pinky edges of your feet. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Breath out. Keep your legs the same. Inhale and reverse your warrior. Right hand reaches high. Left hand just slides down the back of the left thigh. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Breath out. Inhale, rise up to warrior 2. Straighten the right leg. Spin all of the toes to face that long edge of the mat. We'll take a little wide-legged forward fold here. Some people like to keep their feet about parallel. I personally like to bring my toes a little bit in, my heels slightly out, and then hinge at the hips first. So you can even put your hand like right in the crease, hip crease there. Puff the chest out like you're leaning with the heart first. Hinging at the hips, nice straight back at first. You might get to a point where you just can't go any farther with a straight back. Option to stay here for more of a strengthener. Or you can release forward, rounding toward the floor. Hands could come down to the legs or the feet or the floor if you can reach, or your blocks. You might try bending your knees a little bit more or alternating the position of your feet. Maybe they want to go more to a parallel type of position. You choose. Just enjoy exploring this forward fold for about 2 more breaths. Just about 1 more breath. With an inhale, halfway lift. We're straightening the spine. Exhale, fold 1 more time. Bend your knees a little bit here. Reverse swan dive. So the arms reach out wide and then we rise up. Good. Spin all the toes to face the top edge of your mat and then take a big step forward to get back up to the top of your mat. With an inhale, reach those arms around and up, joining your hands at the top. Exhale, hands come down to your heart center. Consider this a homecoming, finding what feels like your center, the stable part of you, that inner space that somehow is always there, always calm beneath the layers of sometimes utter chaos in our lives. There's somewhere deep in there at the center. It's calm and still and well and loving and open and free. Anytime hands come to heart center, just tapping into this inner expansiveness. And let's take a clearing breath together, inhaling through your nose. Sigh or blow out of your mouth. Inhale, reach both hands high, option to look up. Exhale, baby back bend, squeezing those glutes, cactus the arms. Inhale, reach high, unwind. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, half tuck of your chin, so you're just looking straight down at the floor. Exhale, hands come to the floor or blocks. We're stepping the left foot back first and then the right to your high plank. Inhale, when you get there, press the floor away. Exhale, stay here if you can or if you want. One more big breath in. Exhale, lower your knees, lower your chest, greeting the floor at the bottom. Press the tops of your feet down again. Let's go through 3 more rounds of our baby cobra. With your inhale, we're lifting the head and chest. You can hover your hands up if you'd like, or even reach them forward for an extra strengthener. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, your style, baby cobra, lifting. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale up to baby cobra. Let's stay here for the exhale. One more breath in, option to hover your hands up again. And exhale, lower down. Really important to build strength there through the low back. Help us stay healthy and mobile for many more years to come. Take another breath here, just resting. And with an inhale, press up to your tabletop. And exhale to child's pose. 2 breaths here. Reach through those arms if it feels good. Inhale. Letting everything go with your exhale. One more breath in. And breath out. If for any reason you want to bypass downward dog, just stay here. If you're headed that way with me, let's inhale to come up to tabletop. You can always grab those blocks here if you'd like, and then use an exhale to find downward dog. Our last one today. 3 breaths here, pressing into your fingers, press into your palms of your hands. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in, softening your facial features. Breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up to your hands. Exhale, step just the right foot forward. Inhale, come on up to your high lunge. Exhale, arrow pose, arms reach back, head reaches forward. Inhale, sweep those arms down and up, high lunge. Exhale, sweep those arms down and back, arrow pose. One more time, inhale up. Exhale, arrow. Staying here in your arrow pose for 2 more breaths. Hug your shoulder blades together. Exhale. Last breath in. And breath out. When you're ready, step that left foot to the top of your mat. So we end up at the top. Inhale, reach both arms high. Exhale, hands to heart. Big breath in and out. Let's take a clearing breath in through the nose. Sigh through your mouth. So we're gonna step back to arrow pose on the other side. So this will kind of turn into a balancing pose pretty quick here. So just shift your weight over to that left foot. Start to come up to maybe a mini one-legged mountain pose. So maybe the toes of the right foot. Take a breath in. With your exhale, we're going to go all the way back to arrow pose. So reach that right foot back. Reach those arms back and bend into the left knee. Arrow pose. Just do your best. You can adjust as we go. Inhale, reach both hands back up. Still bent into that left knee. High lunge. Exhale, arrow pose. Arms reaching back, head reaching forward. One last time. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, arrow. Let's stay in our arrow pose for 2 more breaths. Hug those shoulder blades together as you inhale. And exhale. It might be hard, but let's just stay here 1 more breath in. And breath out. Spin down that right heel. Shift all of your toes to face the long edge of your mat. Star pose. And we're going to hang out in star pose for a little bit. So just reach those arms up. You might kind of, as if you were looking up at a really beautiful sunny day. You've got your sunglasses on. You're not looking into the sun. But you're feeling like the glory of one of these nice summer days. Just feeling kind of an expansion from the center of your body, the center of your heart. And you can take just a little bit of intuitive movement here. So maybe you kind of shift through your hips. Maybe you kind of sway through your arms. Just getting a little bit of stretch or movement through this expansive kind of state. Then use an inhale to come back up to our star pose. And then exhale to lower your arms down. Give them a little shake. Toe heel your feet on in to the center. Let's do 1 more balancing pose here. We'll do tree pose today. And so let's start with our weight on the right foot. Kickstand that left heel on your right ankle, opening the left leg out toward the left wall as much as you can. Your hands could be on your hips or at your heart or holding on to some support. Find an unmoving focal point somewhere in front of you. Steadying your breath, steadying your gaze on this drishti. You might stay here or find another variation of tree pose that you like, maybe sliding that left foot up to your right calf. Maybe you help that left foot get up to your right thigh. You choose your tree pose. Let's hang out here for about 3 more slow breaths. Feel free to take arm variations or any other playful expressions you choose. Maybe 1 more breath. Feel free to stay longer if you like. Eventually using an exhale to lower your foot back to the floor. Shake out that standing leg and we'll switch sides. So shifting the weight over to that left foot and then finding that nice little kickstand position to start with the right heel now on the left ankle. Find your drishti. Could be the same spot or somewhere new. Once you eventually feel steady, if you do today, you might take that foot variation, sliding your right foot up to the left calf or up to to the left thigh. Doesn't have to be the same as it was on the first side. Just see what works. And focusing intently on that unmoving spot, your drishti, as you breathe. Let's take about 3 more breaths. Arm and hand movements or variations, always welcome. When in doubt, take your variations. Play a little. And eventually using an exhale to lower everything back down. Shake out your standing legs, shake out any other body parts that are feeling like some shaking is a good idea. And then let's come on down to the floor. Take your time as you bend your knees. And just come down to a seat first. If it feels good to you, we'll hug those knees in and then roll back onto your back. If that doesn't feel good, just coming onto your back and then hugging your knees in for a moment here. Let's reach the forehead up toward the knees, just squeezing into a tiny little ball here for a moment, taking a nice breath in and out. And then bringing your head back down to the floor, softening your grip here. Let your knees find a little bit of space between your body. We're still holding onto the knees here, but now we're in a better position for some free movement as we roll some deep massaging pressure through the low back, through the sacrum. Even feel it in the glutes and the hips a little bit if you get the right angle. So just explore some free movement. Spend extra time where you need it if you find anything like that. And then we'll end with some nice twists. So bringing your feet down to the floor, let's reach the arms out wide for some good support. Let's pick up the pelvis, scoot over and set the hips down over toward that left edge of your mat. And then allow your knees to start twisting and lowering to the right. Try to keep your left shoulder grounded down to the floor, touching down to the floor. If that left shoulder's popping up and kind of following you into your twist, it's just a sign that perhaps you've gone a little too twisty, a little too far into your twist. So just maybe coming out slightly by lifting those knees. And you could stay right where you're at, or maybe you let your gaze slowly roll just a little to the left, opposite way that your knees are facing. Check for any unnecessary holding or gripping. It's usually at least one spot, if not several spots, that tend to be overworking. So I'm just going on break here. Settling into this twist for another breath or two. And eventually switching sides, bringing those knees back up, gaze back to the center. And then let's pick up the pelvis and scoot way over toward the right edge of the mat. And then allow your knees to start twisting and lowering to the left. Take your time here. And again, maybe experimenting with letting your gaze slowly roll to the right. Check for over efforting, holding, gripping, and see if you can release any spot you find. Just about 1 or 2 more breaths. about coming back up to our neutral starting spot. So shifting so the hips now are back at the center of the mat. And then we'll once again hug the knees in toward the chest, either staying right here or turning this into happy baby. You could reach for the thighs and just kind of pull the knees in toward your armpits there, or maybe reach down for your feet. You can go for the inside or the outside edges of your foot. My personal fave is using the peace fingers, like you're making the peace sign, and then wrapping those around the big toes. Just feels like a more reliable grip for me. And then just pulling your knees in toward the armpits, holding steady or taking a little bit of rocking if that feels okay. You can get a little more playful with it. Sometimes it's fun to straighten one knee and bend the other, or whatever else comes to mind here. Just feeling into that inner child, that happy baby spirit that hopefully is in you somewhere. And any other last movements, poses, or stretches that your body is asking you for or wanting to explore, just go ahead and move into those now. Maybe a long body stretch, maybe some sound or a sigh or whatever else. No wrong answers here. And as soon as you feel that you've had enough movement, we'll find our final resting pose. And that looks different for us all. So maybe finding Shavasana, the classic corpse pose relaxation position with the arms and legs out long. Maybe constructive rest pose could feel better on the low back today. You could bend your knees and stand your feet up at the edges, kind of tucking your tailbone under and then setting the pelvis back down. I like to let my knees come together so that I just don't have to think about holding my legs up. Wherever you're at, let the arms find their own way. Maybe out to the sides or up high, or maybe your hands want to hold on to the other hand, interlacing your fingers. Just keep experimenting until you feel about as comfortable as you think you can feel for now. Maybe taking a couple rounds of clearing breath if you want. Maybe tucking your shoulder blades in underneath your body and then settling. And now's your chance to rest, to meditate, or just enjoy this music that I'm about to play. I will see you on the other side. Slowly deepening your breath. And then wiggling fingers and toes when you're ready. Carefully moving through ankles and wrists. Reawakening your body just enough to roll onto either side, eventually finding the fetal position with your knees slightly tucked in. Maybe your bottom arm is your pillow now. Take one round of breath here. And when you're ready, using the help of your arms and hands to press up to a comfortable seat. Let's join our hands in front of the heart. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Together, bringing thumbs up to third eye center. And if it feels right to you, let's take a bow forward in gratitude together now. Peace. Thank you. Thanks for being here, everyone.